Hey friends, welcome back to Va2A News. Here's another long play format video where we have a nice informal conversation. Today it's about the State of the Union. I watched it, tweeted out some stuff while I was watching it, and want to share with you my thoughts and a couple of takeaways. Specifically, one thing nobody's talking about, the president promised to uphold and made a pledge to the Second Amendment. Now, I was really excited to hear that, and he recognized that it's a God-given, unalienable right, and it's his duty, or the duty of the Constitution, to protect it. How cool is that? The other thing I wanted to show you here was about the other side of the world. Like, if you're in your echo chamber of the conservative side and the Constitution and God and apple pie and baseball and mom and America and those things, you may actually not know. You may only hear rumors about what the other side thinks. You see some posts here, you hear about Moms Demand Action, you hear about Antifa and stuff like that. But when's the last time you watched CNN? Well, if you didn't, I'm here to warn you. They're nuts. So what I did is I really simply just came over here and I just Googled State of the Union 2020 and wanted to see what popped up. Of course, several different things pop up. AOC, she didn't even attend. The white coats, which we're going to talk about Nancy Pelosi and them, they refused to stand and booed from time to time and chanted different things. When the president came in, everyone stood up except the white coats. You'll see those guys in a minute, and we're chanting 4 more years. You know, it was magnificent to see President Trump in all of that. I mean, it's just really great. It was nice. He looked well, strong, proud, and delivered a really great speech. I liked it quite a bit. There were some other things that took place during the speech. There were some awards given out. There were some reuniting people with their family members, like service members overseas and stuff. Some of those things were very heartwarming and touching. Some of them were sometimes a little bit more showmanship in there, or, you know, like you could reunite anybody with their family if you wanted to. There was a Medal of Freedom presented. The Presidential Medal of Freedom was presented to Rush Limbaugh. That's cool for Rush Limbaugh. That doesn't really bug me too much. The president can give a medal to whomever he wants, and he gave it to Rush for whatever reasons. I'm not a big Rush fan. I don't dislike Rush, but it is what it is. Another thing is there was a general promoted to... there was a person promoted to a general. He was a Tuskegee Airman. I liked that. That got me. That made me feel good because of the story about his grandson wanting to be a member of Space Force. And I mean, it's just really cool. So there were some things there that were heartwarming for me to watch as a former soldier. I liked seeing that stuff. And I did like seeing the Sergeant First Class being reunited with his family. But AOC didn't attend, and when you type this in, check this out, State of the Union 2020, Google says the best things that pop up are AOC, Ayanna Pressley, and C-SPAN. Wow. Oh yeah, Google's really rooting for you. And then we get ABC, CNN, and Global News. Notice there's no Fox News right up here. Washington Post, have you seen it? No. It's not over here, okay? You're not going to find it, right? Fox streamed it. These are all neutral. We're going to talk about that in a second. Neutral, censor. They want you to believe balanced news sources. It's a bunch of crap. Man, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Politico. I came over here to Politico because I wanted to actually talk about some takeaways. And we're not going to go through all of this. I'm going to show you a few of these. They are going to give you 4 takeaways. Trump tries to shake off impeachment drama with a soaring State of the Union address. He's not shaking off any impeachment drama. Trump wanted the impeachment trial. He begged for it so that he could tell his side of the story. He's winning anyway, you know, and he'll be acquitted here probably tomorrow. But why would he talk about impeachment today? It's the State of the Union. In fact, why would he talk about re-election plans either? It's the State of the Union. It's not the state of tomorrow or whatever. And I understand that some people could talk about impeachment. I guess I could see that making much more sense than his plans that everyone knows he's going to run in 2020. So, moving on to that, Trump and Pelosi, non-handshake, a snub or a slip. Yeah, so when Trump came up to the diocese, Pelosi apparently stuck out her hand. I didn't see it. I didn't notice it. I was watching. I didn't notice it. Maybe the angle was wrong. I think that's a bunch of crap, but I haven't seen a picture. But okay, if she did reach out her hand and he didn't shake it, what do you care about? They don't like each other. Is it a snub? Absolutely. At the end, she rips up his speech, right? And she's not paying, well, she's not watching the speech. She appears to be reading along with it during the whole thing. There's a couple things I want to talk about. If you look at the Politico article, you'll actually see You've got these 6 or 7 categories. Just click which one you want. Nancy Cook says, expect lots of talk tonight about Trump as the resurrector of American economy, but the narrative is not quite right. Unemployment is low right now, but the economic recovery started earlier in earnest under President Barack Obama. Hey, this makes no sense because America is in economic growth right now, period. Could some of what President Barack Obama did raise the economy for Trump's term? Possibly. Doubtful. It really didn't do a great job of building the economy. He wasn't a jobs president. You know what I mean? Closed down, lots of regulation under Obama. New socialist ideas like Obamacare. Okay, people's premiums, insurance became huge, big business. Bailout of the banks. Come on, man. Here we have quite a bit of an economic growth. Some of the highest that it's been. Nancy Cook is just trying to demean that fact. But let's take another one. Let's move on down to defense. Conor O'Brien, and after everything, see, Trump talked a lot about America, about the Space Force, about being the biggest world superpower and stuff like that. And he says Trump has succeeded in boosting military spending, but defense leaders still warn that the recent temporary funding measures pose threats to readiness. The U.S. military was also largely regarded as the most powerful in the world before recent budget increases. Again, Hegelian. This is like half true. Like, what are you trying to say? Like, are you trying to say that the U.S. doesn't have the strongest superpower military on the earth? Because we do. You can't say that outright because any person would question that, you know. So he has to say it in this kind of roundabout way. Let's remember that military leaders, the generals, they work for President Trump. He's the commander-in-chief. They are his advisors, and they serve at his bequest. How many generals, good generals, did former President Barack Obama fire? I thought it was like 30 or 40 or something. That number might be wrong. You guys let me know down below. But anyways, so what is this Conor O'Brien really trying to say? That Trump's not doing a good job? That's exactly what he's trying to say. It's political fluff. Okay. In the 2020 election, we got Nancy Cook. She's had something. And then we got this Gabby Orr. Trump plans to use tonight's speech to underscore what he views as his most notable accomplishments, including the state of the U.S. economy. Expect to hear little from him about his would-be agenda for the second term. Who cares about his second term? We already know he's running. Why would he be talking about that right now? It's something like 270 plus days before the next election. Trump's got plenty of time to talk about that. Today he's working on one thing, the state of America now and what's happened up to this point. And God bless him for that. How come you didn't say anything about the fact that he talked about the Second Amendment and that he wants to protect it? In fact, they don't talk about any of that in here. In fact, reading this, it really got me wondering, like, who the heck are these people? So I checked out Gabby Orr, and it turns out that she's working for Politico, which makes sense. But what does she have to say? She likes Italian food, tips on Italian recipes. She's got a lot of retweets, not a whole heck of a lot of her own thoughts. But 3 hours ago, she said, hey, it's a made-for-TV moment, just how Trump likes it, on a retweet from Philip Blump. Spectacles from start to finish. Trump doesn't shake Pelosi's hand. Trump gives out a scholarship. Melina puts a medal on Rush Limbaugh. A soldier is reunited with his family, and Pelosi rips up the speech. Okay? Gabby, do you actually say anything? A lot of this is just retweets. Gabby, retweet, 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 retweet. Gabby Orr, oh, here we go. During his lunch with news anchors today, Trump said he won over a very small group of Bernie crossover voters in 2016 because he and Sanders share similar views on trade. In response to, unfair trade is perhaps the single biggest reason that I decided to run for president, Elizabeth Landers, at POTUS sang, touting the passage of the USMCA. You know what? We got to actually look at this. Where are these guys? So this is a political bias chart, media bias, and it just kind of shows you where people are standing. And it shows that Politico is pretty much in the center. This green box is reportable, reliable news. But they're over here. Now, this is just scandalous. And you got ABC and NBC and all this stuff, and their reporting is unbiased. It's neutral. So we're going to move over to CNN. What does CNN have to say? 4 moments of Trump's State of the Union speech. They're going to say they're just wrapping it up in this. Trump and Pelosi tension. Democrats lashed out on health care. Oh, this is funny. A chorus of Democrats yelled out, "You," when Trump said that some were trying to destroy the health care. system. Democrats could be heard laughing when the president said he was working hard on big pharmaceutical companies. As Trump riffed off the subject, a crowd of Democrats also started chanting H.R. 3, referencing the Democratic health care bill to lower drug prices. Well, if we're going to talk about chanting, CNN, why didn't you talk about the roars of chanting 4 more years when Trump entered the House? Why don't we talk about that? Because it's not on your agenda. You guys are so unfair. And last time I checked, does anyone see the Democrats as being helpful for passing anything that's been reducing any kind of healthcare charge or cost or anything like that? We got this today, but aren't they the do-nothing Democrats? I mean, really, isn't that what they're doing? The white coats, they kind of sit there. An unexpected medal, yeah, and then a surprise reunion. So out of the entire thing, CNN says these are the 4 things you should know about. The tension, the Democrats yelling at him, Trump gave out a medal, and a soldier came home. Okay, sure. Before we go on any further, if you like what we're doing here, don't forget to head over to Va2A News, like and subscribe. The biggest way you can help this channel is to just share the videos, but if you'd like to go ahead and support us, you can do that over here on PayPal. I decided to check out AOC and see what she thought was going on. She didn't even attend. No white coat this time. But as you can look and you see, remember of what people are calling radical extreme leftist agenda. Medicare for all, a living wage for labor and rights, K through 16 schooling and public colleges as free 100% renewable energy, fixing the pipes in Flint, not hurting immigrants, and holding Wall Street accountable. Yeah, that's great. That sounds wonderful, but that, once again, it's Hegelian. It's not exactly the truth. Medicaid for all is something that would be very difficult to afford, especially when you got a bunch of immigrants that are coming in that are illegal aliens, right? So if you continue, it's hard to fund something like that when you just allow people to in. There's a policy, you should follow it. A living wage for labor and rights, great. Let's socialize the welfare system even more by making mandatory minimums that are payments in the $15, $20, $30 an hour. Let's just rack it up. Virginia's already got a bill to go ahead and do the same thing. Make a living wage of up to $15 an hour within the next 4 years, 3 years. Yeah, that's just going to make it harder for people to get jobs because there'll be fewer jobs out there because companies will have fewer openings and they'll just consolidate the workforce. And I mean, come on, let's let the market drive it. If you're worried that the guy is only making $7 an hour or $9 an hour or whatever it is at McDonald's or where people learn to work in those entry-level first position jobs, then let them work hard and do a good job so that they can move up in order to get their pay raise and the responsibility that comes along with it, as well as move out to another career vocation that they feel suits them better. K through 16 schooling in public colleges, we're going to pay for everybody's college? I don't know about all that, man. 100% renewable energy. Are you talking about the Green New Deal? Because that's trillions of dollars. That doesn't make any sense anyways. And aren't you the one that talked about having a train go to Hawaii, AOC? It's ridiculous. But let's move over to ABC. ABC, State of the Union Address. Remember, ABC is seen as neutral, right? Should be politically unbiased, right? Trump ignored this cloud of impeachment, but disunity is on display. Come on. He did ignore impeachment. And disunity, here's the president presiding over an extreme time of economic growth, new treaties, and a concept that is resonating with the American people, which is America first. Yeah, there's disunity because the Democrats don't like it. They're all sitting down, especially the ladies wearing the white coats. Here's a picture of Pelosi ripping up the speech. That was a president's speech that he gave her a copy of when he came up there. 2, the producer-in-chief brings reality TV to Congress. Wait a minute. Producer-in-chief, this sounds really rough. Yeah, ABC, you're right there. You're supposed to be center-line. You're supposed to be well, goodness, but you are. Producer-in-chief, they're saying that he just made a huge spectacle out of this. In a way, they're right. Because Trump did make a spectacle out of America being great. He promoted America. He's our #1 promoter, right? Because the Democrats aren't doing it. He is. And as the president, he should be our #1 cheerleader, okay? He should be the guy that people look to and see America, like, if that's what it is. 3, Trump tried to paint Democrats as socialists. Yes. Green New Deal, socialism on paper, right? Obamacare, socialism. Yeah, when you try to redistribute our wealth to other communities so that it's community franchises, community owned. Yeah, come on, man. But I decided to look up socialism just so you'd have it here. A political and economic theory of social organization which advocates that the means of production, distribution, and exchange should be owned or regulated by the community as a whole. But that didn't end there. I decided to go ahead and Google great thinkers. Interestingly enough, with the socialist, like what is socialist or great thinkers or whatever, we don't see any socialists over here. We see Aristotle, Thomas Aquinas, Adam Smith, John Locke, okay? And these are just a few. You could get a few more, I'm sure, by greatthinkers.org. But this is what Google represents as their top answer, right? There's no socialist in that. There aren't any Nazis or fascists over there either, or communists, and that's a good thing, right? So even Google can't get around its own bias. And so there you have it. There's just like a real quick look over here at the State of the Union for what was going on today. While Trump was giving a beautiful State of the Union speech talking about America, talking about our greatness, everyone on the opposing side, the Democrat side, and it truly is the opposition, everyone on the opposition was trying to find a way to make it not important or lackluster. And sad that it is that way. We need to get out and vote and make sure that we vote out every single Democrat complete. They can't be in office anymore. They need to be voted out. You need to teach this to your children. If you're watching with children, you need to make sure that you teach them that these kinds of policies and things like the Democrats want, that these extreme type of thoughts, they're not even regular old Democrats like the centrist guys, right? I mean, look how far, not to get off this, just look how biased the center has become with ABC and Politico. If they're supposed to be the neutrally unbiased sources in the center, listen to what they were saying and what we read. That's not unbiased, and that is the new neutral, which is already a slant against the conservative or the Republican. It's crazy, you know. And once again, the purpose of this was to give you something to think about other than what you might hear all the time. It's just try to go over there. And I didn't want to get anything too far off base because I wanted to bring us something that was considered to be neutral and we could see and make a judgment for yourself. Anyways, I hope that you enjoyed it. Hey guys, I'm glad you joined me today. Please let me know what your thoughts are down below. I'm Robert Ham. I'm reporting on All Rights. Thank you for watching.